Hey guys, welcome to Feeling Twisty. I want to talk today about our senses. Sight, smell, taste, touch, hearing, and imagination. The Webster's defines imagination as the act or power of forming a mental image of something that's not present to the senses. And for me, when I talk about reality, if I were to describe it to somebody, what's real? What we call real, and that would be what I can sense, what I can detect with my senses. I can see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it. But we use those senses in our imagination, those same senses that we detect the reality of something, we can bring in with us in our imaginal acts. Let's try fried chicken. You don't have to close your eyes in case you're at your desk working. That would look odd. Or if you're driving, definitely don't close your eyes. But just think about fried chicken. I can smell it. I can smell the chicken. The good, fresh fried chicken. Like walking into Popeyes. Oh. And that's just the smell. But that's such a strong sense. It's a strong and easy one for me to pull up in my imagination. Now, just smelling it, I can already taste it. So I pick up the chicken. I can feel the roughness of the crust in my hands. Bring it up to my mouth and I bite down into it. I can taste the yummy golden goodness of the crust. That's the best part, isn't it? I always like the piece of chicken that have extra crust built up on it, big chunks of crust. Oh my God. There's no chicken here. There's no fried chicken in my house, but my mouth is actually watering right now. Isn't that cool? The senses that we use to detect reality of something, we can bring in our imagination and make it real with an imagination. I could smell that chicken. I could taste it. So why not use our senses? Bring in all the sensory information, all the sense, I can't even say the word right, sensoriousness? That's not a real word, I don't think. It is now. Sensoriousness. If it's not a real word, Mike says so. Anyway, sensory vividness. That's what I wanted. Sensory vividness. Good Lord. Sensoriousness. Reminds me of back in college when I would wrote a paper in theater class. And I was talking about something about Shakespeare. And I wrote Simba Logical. Symbologically. Something like that. And Dr. Kelso wrote back, I think I got a C on the paper. That was 30 years ago. Anyway, she wrote on the paper, not a real word, and circled it in red. Symbological. I think that was it. Yeah. Anyway, I digress. Sensory vividness. When we go with an imagination to move into a different state, to imagine up anything, good, bad, or indifferent. And I talk about what Neville talks about, bringing in the tones of reality, making our imaginal acts real. And we do that by bringing in as many senses as we can, like I just did with the fried chicken. I could smell it first. At first, I just want to smell it. And I could feel it in my hands. And I could taste it and hear it. I could hear the crunch down, and my teeth crunch down into the crust. I made it real with an imagination, so real that my mouth started to water. Let's say you want a new house. How could we use smell? How could you use smell in your little scene to imagine, to bring in the tones of reality, to make it real in imagination? For me, I think maybe the smell of fresh paint. A new car smell, but a new house smell. What's a new house smell like? Well, the air is fresh and clean. good brand new air conditioner, air's coming through nice and clean and cool. But just the smell of fresh paint or that new carpet smell, even if it's, they say it's toxic, it's still a good smell to conjure up in my imagination. I could do that. My scene could just be using the sense of smell, smelling the fresh paint. Maybe I could bring in sight and hearing too, smell the fresh paint and look over at my partner. Well, for my case, look over at Kim. And she says, "We did it, babe." But what if we could take it further out, not just getting the house and just moving in? Because, I immediately just doing this little imaginal scene. I immediately started thinking about, well, now we got to unpack. That's cool if you want to do that, but I don't want to imagine up bringing junk that I don't need to. So let's take it further out. We've been in the house. We've got it all unpacked. Everything's right where it should be. And here comes our best friend at the door. So let's do that scene. We're at the door. We grab the doorknob. We're feeling the doorknob. We hear it, that little, what's this doorknob make? Click, a snick, the little unlocking sound. Open the door and there's our best friend. We see his or her face. "Wow, the house is beautiful," they say. Just that short little scene, opening the door to see their face, their smiling face, and hear them say, "Wow, the house is beautiful." You don't have to worry about the details of the door. Is it painted? What color should I paint it? Is there trim? Is there a window in the door? Is there a peephole? Are there windows on the side of the door? If there are windows there, I wonder if should we do cut glass or whatever. What do you call the glass? It's got the angles on it. Is it smoked glass? Is it clear? No, don't worry about all the details. Just focus on the feeling, that experience of opening the door, seeing your best friend's face and hearing their voice. "Wow, the house is beautiful." Dwell in that little scene until it takes on the tones of reality. You're using all your senses there, touch and hearing, sight, smell. Maybe your friend smells. Maybe they smell really good, but you don't have to worry about it. As many senses as you can bring into your imaginal scene, it just makes it, for me, and I believe for you too, brings the reality home, makes it that much more real. And you just go through that scene again until it takes on the tones of reality. It feels like it's done. It's already done. This has happened. I'm not creating something, thinking of something that's going to happen in the future. I've experienced this in imagination. So it's already true. Time is something how we experience everything. This timeline, dates and order of days, but everything's happening right now, I believe. So your imaginal act has already happened. So really, you've created a memory. You've created a memory of when your friend came over and said how much she loves your new house. Wow, it's beautiful. It's done. It's already true. Now, we daydream a lot. But the difference between daydreaming and creating something in imagination is, when you daydream, it's a fanciful little scene. You might be thinking about the new house. Oh, a new house. I want to have it in this town. I want to have it over there. Oh, wouldn't it be lovely? You might even picture yourself in the house, but then you're snapped out of your reverie for a second and you're back to reality, and then you immediately, I'm just daydreaming. The feeling's different. There's no feeling it to be real. There's no knowingness that it's done. You were just a fanciful little mental tease thinking about it. And then you immediately start thinking about, we're still we've got to get somebody to buy this house. All these other things just start coming in your mind, and that's a daydream. Just fancy, just a little mental tease. But when you go with an imagination and you do this imaginal act, you plant that seed. There's a knowing. That's the difference. There's a knowingness within you that it's done. The seed is planted. I've created a memory. Let me see, open my book here. And this is another quote from Neville from 1963, The Awakening collection of lectures. I quoted The Cross the other day. I love this lecture. Well, I haven't met a Neville lecture I don't love, but you know what I mean. Here we go. And this is talking about senses. If today reason denies the image, you deny reason. If anything in this world, if your senses dictate that these are the facts of life, but they are in conflict with the image that you want to externalize, you deny your senses. Completely deny the senses and reason and entertain the image, for this is God's creativity. The Bible calls in Isaiah, it says, God, I'm paraphrasing, they say, God, you are our Father, you are our potter. And potter means to determine. And when you determine something, that's within. You decide something. You're making a determination. You're determining, this is what I want. The Bible also says that God calls things that are unseen as though they are seen, using the senses there with an imagination to create something we experience with the external senses. We're calling the unseen as though it's seen. And it just defines faith as the substance of things hoped for, but the evidence of things not seen. So that everything's there. Everything's already there. Creation is finished. We just have to select it. It's just not seen with the physical eyes, but we can go with an imagination and experience exactly what we want. And real quick, I was about to close, but 2020 at freeneville.com taught me this game. He calls it the coffee game. And it's really, you're using your imagination and your senses again. And I talked about the smell of fresh paint or the carpet. You could do something. It's not the actual scene that creates anything. That's not where the magic is. The magic is in the knowing that it's done. It's the implication. That's where the power is. What that scene implies. So let's take coffee. I don't know what your favorite brew is. I personally prefer Community Cafe Special. Sometimes I'm feeling a little like pecan praline. Yesterday I was in a pecan praline kind of mood. But I digress. Back to the coffee game. So it's not the scene where the magic is, it's what it implies. So let's say you're in your new home. Go back to that. We'll use that example again. You've got the new home. You're not actually in the new home, but we're in imagination. So you got the house exactly where you want it. You love it. Everything's in its place. The furniture's where it should be. All the boxes are gone. And now you're sitting on your back porch in the cool fall weather, enjoying a cup of coffee. And you don't have to bring in all these other details, but you know all this. Everything I just said, you know, because you are the potter. So you don't need to send all these details out to the universe and, get a response from the universe to line up your vibrations on August 8th, 88 or 11/11. No, you are the potter. Your imagination is the potter. So it's back to the details. You're there in the house. You love it exactly where you want it. And now you're enjoying another, not your first cup. You're enjoying a beautiful fall morning on your back porch. Feel the cool air on your face and the warmth of the cup in your hand. And maybe bring it up to your mouth and take a sip. And you're bringing in all the senses, the feeling of the cool air on your face, and maybe the soft, furry robe you have on, and the warmth of the coffee in your hand. In just that moment, you're bringing the cup up to your mouth and tasting it, the yummy coffee. Right there. That's your imaginal act. That's your scene right there. All these details I was talking about, you know the details. You don't need to load them into your scene. No, just bring it all down, collapse it to a point. Just that one little point of you drinking the coffee. You know what that means. You know what that imaginal scene, that little act means. It'll mean something different to me, but we're not talking about me. We're talking about you and what that imaginal act implies. Oh, I love talking about this. Okay, I'm actually going to finish my cup of coffee now. It's Cafe Special. Cafe Special. All right, love you guys. This is Feeling Twisty.